out to our favorite day of the week is Pod Day. Let's go. You already know it's Tuesday, episode 167 of More Than a Title. I'm your host as usual, Jarrett, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And you know I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO, Chadeo. What's good, my guy?
He in the building.
He's ready to pod. I like it.
I said, let's try it again. Let's make sure Instagram is up. See, technical difficulties. Hold on. Here we go. Let's try it again. We in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is, man. Welcome to another show of More Than a Title. You know how we like to start the show, man. G&T, grateful and thankful, man. Grateful for another day to wake up and just get an opportunity to do it again, to try it again, right? To even fail again and say, okay, learn from that mistake, but I'm going to do better the next time, right? We fall down, we pick ourselves back up. And thankful for all the fans, all the people that tuned in, all the supporters, right? Listen, we even love the negative comments. Yes, because if you commenting, that means you watching that shit. So we love it all, man. We thankful for all of that, man, and we embrace that, man. G&T, grateful and thankful. Don't take nothing for granted, man. Remember, life is too short, man.
That's a big fact. That's a big fact, man. Also, I want to dedicate this episode. I don't know if you saw the thing that happened with Mike Woods, man. Tragic story that happened in the Bronx, man.
Nah, what happened? Wait, yeah, Mike Woods,
No, he's a dude. So I don't know him personally, but long story short, I don't want to go into this, you know what I mean? But definitely rest in peace to the young brother, man. His condolences to his family. I know a lot of his peoples, man. So basically it was a home invasion. He was dealing with domestic something. His wifey at the time he was moving in with, the father and the uncle came in and they beat him to death, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? Right there in the Bronx, man. He was a good dude. A lot of people saying nothing but positive things about him. And daughter of a 16 years old, and it just hurts, you know what I mean? Because we embody that. So Mike, rest in peace, my brother. Condolences to the type. Nothing but love, man. Senseless shit like that. Stop.
Again, G&T, man. This is why we say G&T, man, because you never know what's gonna happen in the moment, right? We live for moments. And you never know what's gonna happen in the next moment. You hope and pray that you can, nothing tragic happens, but unfortunately, life has a way of showing us that sometimes they happen. Our sincerest condolences go out to the Woods family, man, his friends and his family, man. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that.
You know what I mean? It's hard to introduce the next thing, but shout out, you said our distribution partners, the Live Podcast Network, the first woman-owned, black-owned podcast network, and the largest black-owned podcast network in the world. So if you want more content from creators like More Than a Title, make sure y'all scan the QR code, download the app, and half of your subscription goes to the content creators of your choice, man. So we know when it comes to content creation, black creators don't get a slice of the pie where they deserve, and the Angel and the Live team is making sure that happens. So please support, because we all we got, And I love it. You know what I'm saying? With that said,
let's start the show.
Rocking. First of all, let's give this queen the proper introduction, right? That she deserves, right? So first of all, let's give you some backstory. We met at Black Week last month, which was an amazing event, a tremendous event. We had the opportunity to meet this queen, interview her, and we just had some good laughs and a good time. And we was like, we don't care what it looked like. We got to get you on the show. And we made it happen on her parents' 55th anniversary, right?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. So that's black love. That's black love for your ass.
55 years together. They are college sweethearts. They're on their way out to dinner right now. So hopefully they're listening. But 55 years.
So I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, Denise. Motherfuckers can't go 55 days in today's dating economy.
What I said in the bio.
Sure can, but they made it. They have made it work. They have
5 hours. After you meet somebody in the club, you meet them in the club Friday night. You might spend a night, and that's 24. Then they say some shit the next day. This ain't gonna work.
Oh, she might have been this.
You in the club. That's a fact. Once you wake up in the morning, what the fuck?
No, they have stuck with it since college.
Now, I love that, man. Shout out to your parents, man, for leading the way by showing the example that it can be done, man. It can be done.
It can be done with commitment, love, and just a desire to stick with it.
That's it.
I love that, man. I love that. Yeah.
Definitely stuck with it in your career. We're going to give you the intro. First of all, if you're not familiar with this queen, she's a powerhouse in media, marketing, and education. With over 20 years of experience in the entertainment market industry, she formerly served as the vice president of brand strategy at iHeartMedia and is now the founder of DLB Solutions, LLC, which is a marketing consultancy. And beyond her corporate success, she's shaping the next generation as a professor at Fordham University and NYU, teaching graduate courses in advanced business communication and integrated marketing. She's also made her mark as a renowned organizations like Viacom, NBCUniversal, the NBA, WarnerMedia, earning impressive array of accolades, including Black Woman in Media Trailblazer Award and Cynopsis Top Woman in Media Award. And she's been on a lot of podcasts and a lot of different, definitely a lot of conferences. Shout out to Sisters in Sales, shout out to our sis Chantel and everybody. But this is time or more than the title, baby.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much for having me. Because we hooked up at Black Week, and it was just such connection, such love. We were all just vibing and having such a good time together. And wasn't that such like a transformative conference? And that's so weird that you say that about a corporate conference, but it was so like the energy was everything. And so when we linked up, it was just and everybody else had that same kind of just energy. And what can we do together? How can we support each other and lift each other up?
That's a fact. We
had a ball. We had a ball.
We had a time.
We had a time. Whenever somebody puts a post up, my response is this: a time was had. Like we can't even explain it to you. Like you just had to be there. Like a time was had.
Time was had. So shout out to Monique Nelson, because we had connected. About iHeart sponsoring it, and it was like that was another just link up where we were out somewhere, and it just just one of those symbiotic moments where like, yes, let's do something together and be able to actually make it happen. So I love those moments where we can come together like that.
That's a fact. I gotta ask you now, what was your favorite moment? What was your favorite moment in Black Week?
Oh my God, why did you ask me that? Oh,
early.
Yeah, you got to. I'm like, it's a good segue.
In the hot seat.
Oh God, because there were so many. I mean, I guess the best thing I think it was being in that room where you all were taking the photos, that VIP or so lounge that we were in, and being in that room where everyone, I've been in this for a long time, and so when you're in those spaces where you're like, everybody is a friend. Everybody is people that I have come up together. Like there were people in that room that not only that are like best friends of mine, like my for real best friends, but people that we started when we were wee pups, like 22 in the game, at MTV and, all these other companies. And we were looking at each other like, ooh, y'all, we old.
We here. You say we old.
We old. We are now the people that we were running to be up under. And it was that moment of, look at us.
Denise, you're not 22?
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, you don't fool me, girl.
Talk to him.
I thought she was right out of college. I said she right out of college. Come on.
Just graduate.
I'll take it. That ain't what my birthday says tomorrow, but I'll take it. But yeah, it was. So that was a good moment to just be in that space with so many friends, colleagues, people who are like family that we've been in for so long, and being able to still talk about what's happening with us, and still we were talking about business of how can we, because everybody had that spirit of how can we help each other? What do you need? How can I support you? How can I champion you? Like everybody had that same spirit. So that was my favorite part. I know that's a little woo-woo, but that was my favorite part.
No, that's real. I loved it. It was what is that Wednesday? That Wednesday in the premiere room?
Yeah.
Room time. It just, you had to feel the energy in there. It's hard to describe.
It's hard to explain, but it was great.
I wish that the only thing that I could say, and I know it's their inaugural year, right? But I wish that could have actually went out live, right? Because to see it in a recording is one thing. To see it in action out as it's happening, like if they could have live streamed this thing, oh man. People would have
what we were doing in there, and it's not to we didn't need to, it's not about gatekeeping it, but it was such because it felt also safe.
Yeah, of course.
No, it felt very safe. It felt where we were, everybody who was talking was being very, very authentic, very real. We were kind of going there with each other and having some conversations that, we don't necessarily need everybody to know what we was talking about.
Right.
So I don't know if I wanted, especially for that inaugural year, like, I don't know if I wanted everybody to know what we was talking about.
No. I'm not saying like to hear the conversations. From the aspect of going live is just to see that many of us in a room and see the interaction with nothing but smiles, hugs, embraces. That was the energy that I was talking about. Just for them to see the energy, because they say it can't be done. They say whenever we get together, we don't know how to act and things of that nature, right? Especially now you have dozens of people in high-ranking positions throughout multiple agencies where nobody was in there like, well, I'm a CEO of this, well, I'm a CEO of that. It was none of that's what I'm talking about.
None of that was in there. That's what
That's what I was talking about. Right.
None of that was there. And those, and like you said, those people were there, all of us with, fancy titles were, I mean, everybody was there, but nobody was on that type of time. And let me ask y'all, because somebody else had asked me, did we think it was good being in New York and would it work anywhere else? And I was saying the energy in New York is so special in how we there's just a level of hustle energy that we have that makes it productive yet still community and familial that I don't think we could have done had this say been in Atlanta. And no shade to Atlanta, but I just don't think it would have been the same.
It'd have been it'd have been a different. But I love the fact that they did it the same week as Ad Week. Like that was
done on purpose. There's no way that was done by accident.
Right.
It's a market share.
No way.
About the equation. Let me take that.
But I really liked it. And obviously there's some conferences that are in LA. Shout out to Tiff for Ad Color, and I hated that I had to miss Ad Color, and I also was at ANA multicultural in Vegas. So I mean, it's the same people, but there was something about it being here in New York that just it just gave it that splat that just did it for me.
Shout out to Linwood. He said it on the interview. I can't wait to put it. He said it just hit different. He said
it just hit different.
It was different. It was different.
I loved it. We're a unique breed here. So, I thought that was I loved it. I thought they did such an amazing job. I was so happy to be a part of it and so happy to, have connected with you all and so many other good people there.
It was the real, man. So shout out to the entire founder team there.
Definitely.
Right now, we met so many people. We got so many interviews. Oh man, the Rohan and so we got Shannon Sharp. It was just a vibe, man. So we're grateful for that opportunity, man.
Definitely.
I got to ask you too now, because we talked about your parents. We usually start the show off with your early influences growing up, and then we're gonna get into how you got into the industry. So tell us about like a little bit of growing up, mom, pops. What was it like?
So I am originally from Dallas, Texas. I grew up we moved to the DMV to Silver Spring, Maryland when I was about 9. So I am Southern, but when you're born in Texas, you're Texan. It's just a thing.
I ain't mad at it.
I'm still a native Texan, but my parents are actually from Louisiana. So my mother is from New Orleans.
New Orleans. You gotta say New Orleans. You gotta say New Orleans.
My father's from Northern Louisiana. So they met at Grambling State University. So that was thank God for that, and thank God for November 26, 1969, when they got married, right coming out of college. So my parents are retired now public health executives. So they don't have nothing to do with any of this, media and marketing and any of that stuff. They're healthcare executives. But I'm really lucky that I have two of the most supportive type of parents that when us kids, I'm the youngest of 3, I have an older brother and an older sister. When we tell them that there's something that we want to do, like they are 100% in. Like my dad was my soccer coach. He was my brother's soccer coach. Like my mom she's running to everything that, so for me, I am a musician. So I play 5 instruments, but coming up, I played 4. And so, my parents were right there at them piano lessons every night. Like, yep, I guess we're going to be here. They were buying those instruments. And when we started talking about college, we worked as a team of, okay, what Denise, what do you want to do? And we went through things like music therapy, music education. I ain't want to do none of them things.
I didn't expect that.
None of them things. And we landed on music business because I said, that's something that I want to do. I could see myself working at a label, or I got to what I really wanted to do as the, growing up in the 80s and 90s kid that I am. I want to work at MTV. Like there was, if you remember that time, like there was no other standard of cool than MTV. And so that's what I wanted to do. And so together, my parents, we looked at all the schools that offered music business programs. So that was NYU, Berklee College of Music, I think University of Texas in San Antonio. And I got into all those schools. But we picked Indiana State University because we went to a visit, and that seems very random for, a DMV kid and a DMV Black kid. But I went there and I met my then future professor. His name is James Slutz. He's now since passed on. And he was this like gruff, older, white man. He's, sound like Foghorn Leghorn. And when we talked to him about this program, he asked me straight up, he's like, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to work at MTV. And he said, if you come here, I'll get you there. I got 100% job placement. So if you come here, then that's where you'll go. And my parents and I looked at each other like, but Indiana? And Indiana State is in Terre Haute, Indiana, and it used to have a paper mill. It's gone now, but it stinks. Like it literally stinks all the time. Message. But we were like, no, this is the one. This is the one. We're gonna go here. And thankfully they throw a lot of money at little Black girls who play strange instruments. So
well, that's another message. I love that.
Yeah.
Shit, throw money.
I played the piano, but I played the bassoon and the flute and the trumpet. But the bassoon, yeah, people like little Black girls who play instruments like that. So, I got a couple academic scholarships and some music scholarships. So we made that choice together to go there, and it was the best decision I ever made. I love my school. I love my friends. I love my sorors. I'm celebrating 25 years of being an AKA. Pledge at Indiana State University, Epsilon Xi chapter. And
you got a gang sign with anything sign?
I don't know what I'm ignoring that. I don't know what
what the hell is that?
But and I love my time. And it was an interesting time because again, I'm a Southern born East Coast kid. So, going to school in the Midwest, yeah, that was different. It was different. I could have very easily gone to NYU and probably been just fine. But I also knew I'm moving to New York in 4 years. So I want to have a college experience. I want a football team. I want a yard. I was on the dance team. I wanted to pledge. I wanted to do all those things because I know in 4 years, I'm about to go live this sitcom life in New York. And it was. And his Slutz, what he did was send us to a music conference, the National Association of Music Merchants Conference. He sent it to us. We went to LA every year, and he was super strict on us. You're on that plane in a suit because you're every time you walk out the door, you're a representation of Indiana State University, and you're going to be, you're also searching for an internship. You are required to have a 6-month internship to graduate. And so when I got there, that conference is a lot of like music stores. That has nothing to do with me. But right there was VH1 Save the Music, a division of MTV Networks. Yeah. So I used to make my way straight there. And who was there? A brother. This wonderful brother who is a mentor to this day. Shout out to Lauren. And he's a Kappa. And I must have met him, had to have been my sophomore year of college. And I would go straight to him. I'm like, this is what I want to do. And he would tell me, as soon as you're ready for you to do your internship, come get me. We'll make this happen.
Fire.
And we did.
Hold on. Did I get it wrong? Is this way?
It's not no way for you, sir.
I'm asking you, is that the AKA joint? I'm asking. Cause my little cousin an AKA and all.
Yes, that is our trademark sign for
I
us.
wasn't bugging now. I knew I was on the right path somewhere. I know that AKAs, man.
But yeah, so Lauren, that was one of my first signs of just, how we look out for each other.
Thanks.
And, make those ways for those coming up behind us. And I'm always very grateful to him for helping me to get to where I got. And, some other people helped as well, but I know he helped. And it's been something that I keep as I've continued to grow. Me and one of my homegirls, Kimberly King, we always talk about how we lift as we climb, because we can never forget how much there are people that helped us along the way, and particularly those that look like us. Let's make sure that we are, even if we're too busy, even if we feel like we don't have anything to give, we make sure that we are looking out for them. So I started my internship at VH1 Save the Music. I started in the summer of 2001. It was every sitcom possible, just every adventure you could have as a young 20-something in New York. I made some of my best friends who are my best friends to this day during that time. And obviously this is 2001, so we know how that season of that TV show ended. Ending in that time of 9/11 was, I realized how much I'm still traumatized to this day, because I had to talk about it to my students, I think last year, about how much that affected me. But what I think it also did was it solidified my resolve to stay here. It also stay in this business and keep going. So it's been something I've had to tell to my students when we talk about living and leading in uncertainty. That was an uncertain time for me. The last time I taught that class, I was really talking about pandemic, that's an uncertain time for them. And now when I probably, as I'm probably going to teach that class again, that'll be something I talk about, of this kind of uncertain time right now, and how you navigate through that, and the experiences that you've had along the way can hopefully help you in terms of how you lead and live through those uncertain times.
Yeah, that's real. But imagine, so they want people to ask why media is important. Like, that's why. Had it not been somebody that looked like you, that you connected with on that level, that you could build a relation for 2-3 years, that conversation ceased to exist. It might have been somebody else, but it just people don't know what it looks like when you're not the person in the room. You don't have that.
Don't know. They don't know. And one of the things that, when I was at Viacom and MTV Networks for almost 9 years. And during that time, I got my MBA from Fordham, and MTV paid for it. But at the time, MTV was the corporate sponsor of the National Black NBA Association. And so a friend of mine, shout out to Juan, he used to run that partnership. And so when they were giving out corporate scholarships for National Black NBA, I got it. So I'm at the banquet, and my table is with all of the most senior Black executives at MTV Networks. And remember, I'm a kid. If I'm 26, I might be 26. And these executives, the amount that they poured into me of, we are so proud of you. If there's anything that we can do to help you, we are here for you. I still talk to so many of them today that they just were so much like, we see you, we got you, keep going. We are supporting you. We love what you're doing, and just keep on, and we got your back. And again, it's something that I am so grateful to have had those experiences. Sometimes I hear from us that we don't necessarily have those people to look up to, but I've been really lucky to have so many people that have been great, formal and informal, mostly informal, mentors that have really tried to to help and extend themselves. And yeah, if I didn't see them, you know, I might not have known this was possible. Again, it's not that I didn't have examples. I grew up with 2 executives. So it's not that I didn't have those examples. Like, you know, anybody asks me who my biggest, you know, inspiration is, I mean, it's my mama, because my mama is dope. Like my mama is like, she's an international, you know, health, public health executive. But still, with these people in my field, men and women, that just poured so into me, I'm forever grateful for being able to have those experiences with them.
You know what's crazy? We hear the complete opposite.
I do too.
People who come on the show, it's like, no, we don't hear that. When you get at the top, they're longing for somebody that looks like them, just to be at the top with them, just to be like, yo, sis, come here, yo, bro, come here. We don't hear that, right? So people want to be in those rooms. The fact that you had that, I know me personally, I didn't get a mentor to maybe I was 32, 4 years ago, and he happened to be at Viacom, which is crazy. What's the odds of that?
Though, you know, me and you be on the same wavelength a lot. You know where? Can you read my mind on where I'm gonna pivot? I'm not gonna pivot, but you know where can you read my mind?
Are you out of your fucking mind?
We'll be on the same page. You know what I'm gonna bring up. You know what I'm gonna bring up.
What you gonna bring up?
Denise, we had the conversation the other day about the Tyson fight. And one of my biggest things with Mike Tyson was when Little Jazzy interviewed Mike Tyson. And he had the opportunity to be that strong Black role model, pour into her, and just, you know, give her everything that she needs as, she's like 12, right? 12. She's at NBA games. She's WrestleMania. It's impossible for you not to know this little girl is out here on her grind. Yeah. And you had the opportunity to pour into her because you got children. Yeah. And instead of pouring into her like your mentors did to you, what he did was decided to just be like ignorant and arrogant and just give the most disgusting interview that I think that you could have ever given, especially to a child, that it really, really bothered me. It bothered me. And I made it a point to say that, like, how could you give that type of interview to a 12? She's not even a grown woman for you to give that interview to. She's a 12-year-old. Like, you understand what I'm saying? You should have nurtured her and possibly gave her the best interview she's ever had, helped her career a little bit. And you just chose to just be like, instead of being selfless, I felt like you were extremely selfish in that moment. And instead of championing her, you just took that moment to be like, fuck it, it's all about me. Like, this is what we talk about. These things are important because you don't know the effect that interview could have had on that little girl. She handled it beautifully. I mean, this girl is a true consummate professional. She's going to be the next Gayle King. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she is phenomenal. But behind the scenes, when she left and got back with her parents, you don't know how she took that interview. You don't know. Yeah. In the moment when you said what you said, her body reacted to it immediately, but you know, her mind was like, don't. And she kept it together, right? Because again, you meeting that person, right? When you went for that internship, you meeting that Black person that you felt like, oh shit, another Black, we could connect. You see, you're full of hope. Your spirits are high. Your energy's high. Imagine now if he would have been a gatekeeper.
Oh, absolutely.
You see what I'm like? Absolutely. It could have altered the trajectory of your entire
life.
Thank you.
Of my whole life.
Thank you.
I am so grateful to him, and I'm gonna make sure I text him right when we get off here to tell him that I appreciate him. I try to do that a lot of times, and again, it's been 20 plus years, and again, other people did help. But I'm never gonna take that away. I'm never gonna take it away of what he did and how he created a lane for me. And that's something that my dad really put upon us to, hey, it might happen that you might be the only one who gets up there. But if you don't get in there and open that door, just quick for other people to come in, then you are a disappointment.
Message.
It is.
If you aren't doing what you can, we can't do everything, but if you're not doing what you can to at least provide some support, some guidance, some I got you, you know, any of those things. And listen, it doesn't always work out. I know that I have extended myself to some young people and sometimes they fumble it and I'm like, how I was rooting for you. Like, come on, but you have to try to teach folks how to come up, how to play this game. That's the best thing that I can share with those coming behind me. Like, listen, I made a whole bunch of mistakes, so you don't have to. So let me put you on game so that you don't have to hit those walls that maybe I hit, that, I got some guidance of how to navigate through, but let's get you better so that you get to leap right over that and make your own new mistakes.
Facts. But let's dive into that. And I do what it would touch on what Cuzzo said. Yes, you're right with the Tyson joint, bro. But that might have needed to, I guarantee you, out of all the interviews she done, because everybody's like, hey, you're great, you're the blessed, da-da-da. He was like, yo, your legacy, what does legacy mean? Because when you're dead, you're dead. People are going to not like you. People are going to like you. I bet you should never forget that. That's all I'm going to say. Right. Whether it was a good message or not, I know she's something she'll remember. And I respect that.
What we all have in common, Denise, Jarrett, and I, is we all grew up in similar circumstances, but different, correct? Yeah. But guess what? We all are here right now, right? Yeah. But what I'm telling you is, Denise, a lot of the people that we grew up with, because they didn't have that guidance when they needed it, because of a one moment in time where they might have gotten their hopes and dreams shattered, especially for young Black men. Yeah. Right? Yeah. When we're trying to do something positive and we get that door slammed enough, we go completely left. Fuck it. I'm what? That's what I'm talking about. In the mind of a child, again, it's not what you say a lot of times, it's how you say it. He could have, Cuzzo, you verbatim said what he could have said, and what did I say to you? That was very profound the way you said it. And if he would have gave that answer, I'd have been like, yo, champion him. But it was nasty, man. It was nasty.
And I think with that, it's probably so many of us, so many people, but so many of us, we don't necessarily know how to pour into, because either that wasn't done to us, or we got some bad intel that kind of nurturing and lifting up is somehow not preparing them for the ills of the world. And I think where you're coming from, and certainly where I'm coming from, is, hey, okay, we kind of all we got. So if we can't, go ahead.
Well, I just want to add. He then did an interview right before the fight with his son, who's a grown man, who was interviewing, I don't know, for Netflix or whatever. He had a Netflix microphone. And it was nowhere near the interview you gave the little girl. Grown man, your own kid, and you gave him a completely different interview than you gave a child. See, now if you'd have gave your son, if you'd have gave your son the same type of energy, I'd have been like, okay, that's Mike across the board, keeping consistent.
Right.
You made sure
at the crib.
That's so interesting in terms of thinking about how, again, us as a culture, but you gentlemen, on how you are talking to and about young girls and women. And where I am completely and utterly blessed, I always say the joke of, ain't no better feminist than a man with a daughter.
Okay.
Don't no man want their daughter to be, nobody wants a young woman to be more of a boss than her daddy. And so my father, again, my father married a boss chick. So he knew what he got. He knew what he married, and he met her. They met in college. So he knew what he got, but he also knew what he made. And my dad was the type that constant pushing, go, get it, beat him, do it. All he wanted was the absolute best. If there's anybody to beat him. And so I had that kind of backing and support behind me. I still have it now, that he's always like, who's the opponent? Let's get him. But that's the energy that I had from the male in my life. Of course, my mom is doing it. That's my mom. But my dad he's the one who is pushing it. And he doesn't even like me saying, I'm like, you are the biggest feminist ever. Because you don't want your daughter to ever be, in these positions of being less than, talked to less than, or anything. And I remember when I'm probably a senior in high school, and I probably made my decision for college. and I'm at a work event with my father. He was an executive at the National Institutes of Health. And, some colleague of him is asking me what I want to do. And remember, if I'm a high school senior, I might be a college freshman. And I'm like, I'm majoring in music business. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to work at MTV. Like, I'm just ready. And this man says to me, he starts laughing loudly.
See?
Y'all get a look at this one. She's trying to take over MTV. She's trying to do this. Like, you're putting me down. I was like, let me back up before my daddy get back over here. Before my daddy end up beating this dude up. Because, my dad was like, why would you say that to my daughter?
Right. See?
Like, why wouldn't you have the attitude of, atta girl, do it? Because that's what you say to young people. When they tell you what they want to do, you say, I see you, do it, get it, work. I love that for you, and a cherry on top of how can I help? Right. But mostly when you see a young person, especially the young person that you were talking about, somebody who's just doing it, there's no other way to talk to them other than
thank you.
Get it. I love that for you. Get it. You can do this. You got this.
That's the political answer, Denise. But this is more than the title. This is more than the title. Your father from you know what I'm saying, Louisiana.
My dad is from northern Louisiana, so they're a little more country.
Okay, a little bit. So even better. So I know his real answer was,
if I raise up, gonna be trouble.
Oh, it was, but my daddy had to keep
my daughter like that.
He had college. He had kids in college. My daddy was right. My daddy is a smart man.
That's the message I'm sending. I'm with you 120%. That's the exact message that I keep sending when I keep talking about that interview, man. Pour into that little girl, man. Pour into her, right? Even if your experiences, for you to be a celebrity, a world champion, et cetera, you know what it is. You've been around this game a long time, man. The ups and the downs. You are the youngest heavyweight champion in history, right? So once again, you're not getting interviewed by grown-ups with accolades, Gayle King, You're getting interviewed by a little girl who might end up being one of the most youngest award-winning. And you understand what you should see the relation. You should see the relation. You should see the relation. Yeah, you should see that correlation immediately and be like, I got you.
But this interview will be the best. Like you said, it's something that we all have to learn, and particularly as we are learning how we talk to just young people in general, for sure, but also how we are pouring in specifically to our young Black girls. They are going to continue to have things thrown at them, and they do need us to continue not so much pushing, but supporting them, championing them, telling them, I see you. That's the one thing I love to be able to say to young girls, even that I mentor, whether they're like girls or just young women. Hey, I see you. You got this. You're doing good. Keep going. Yeah. Keep going. Rest when you need to, but you got this. And I believe in telling them, I believe in you. You say that you want to do something ridiculous. Okay. Let's do it. I'm on board. And that's what I go back to the support that my parents gave me. Again, they are public health executives. They don't know nothing about media or any of those things, but the way that they immediately were like, Denise, if that's what you want to do, we're all in.
I feel you.
For a better situation than that. And that's why I'm so grateful to my parents for doing all that. And I spend so much time. I'm still like a little kid of, when I accomplish anything or anything that I do, I'm like, I hope you're proud. Like, I hope you're okay with your investment.
I think it's paying off like a mug. But I do want to ask you, I want to talk the real game to them, because it might be youngins that's listening to us right now. You talked about the game going into the walls. What does the game mean to you? And what are some of the walls and obstacles you faced as you was climbing the ladder?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, let's get to and let's hit them with one of these. Where is it?
Cut the shit.
Woo, we gonna get the shit now. Get the shits.
We all talk about, learning how to play the game. And, even when I've listened to some other guests on your show, we've all kind of said the same things of the game is not built for you to beat it. It's not built for you to beat it, but there are ways that you can play it better. so that you can come out on top, at least come out as, less scathed as possible. And you can, have some levels of success and have some levels of happiness. But in order to do that, you have to start understanding what the game is. One of the things that I teach in my advanced business communication and leadership communication class at Fordham School of Business, I talk about understanding communication styles. Because I see a lot of people, they don't even understand their own communication style, which means they don't understand yours either. And so that's why y'all are clashing. And they lack, a lot of people lack so much emotional intelligence that everybody is just coming to work and coming into situations with all their issues, and everybody is doing this. And that's why we can't get ahead. And so it is playing the game a lot smarter, doing a little, doing your little Art of War game. Again, my dad was a football coach. He made us read the Art of War. That's just how he is. Because he made us read that because it was about learning how to play the game, learning who are the players in your world, understanding how they move. And it's never about, I never tell people to change who you are. You are who you are. Adapt. Just adapt.
Can't do it.
Just adapt.
I can't do it.
You're not changing. Be who you are.
Can't do it.
Adapt to the situations. Talk to me about where you think, because see, what I think you're hearing, what I assume that you're hearing is still a version of change.
It's not that. It's, everybody's built different. It's about just understanding who you are, right? Sure. And I'll give you an example, like, I'm a United States Marine, and I could have, I could have done 20 years easy, but I did 4.5. Well, I did 5 years. I did 5 years, but I got out. You know why? Because I wasn't going to play the game, right? I wasn't going to play the game. And even in there, sometimes I got in trouble because I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm not playing this fucking game. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I understand. Listen, adapting is to me, and this is just my version. Adapting is, I'm used to working one way, right? I go to school, I learn something. I'm used to working a system one way. I come to you, Denise, you give me a job. You go, listen, fuck everything you learned in school. This is the way we do it here. That's fine. That's adapting, right? Okay, I'm at the job. You guys do it different. Let me learn that, right? We have a different structure. That's different. I feel like playing the game is too much of you not being yourself to kind of conform and fit into what their narrative is. And again, I'm not mad at anybody that can do it. I'm just saying, me personally, I can't do it, right? And you're gonna, like, perfect example, right? I love my cousin. I was just laughing. You don't know why I'm laughing. It's Instagram. They're commenting on Instagram, but I know my cousin's energy, right? His whole face just changed. His whole attitude and his whole demeanor. He wears his emotions on his. You're gonna know when he's not. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I wear that the same way. Like, I wear my emotions on my sleeve, right? If I don't feel a certain way about something, I'm gonna say something, because at the end of the day, how can you possibly be the best at a company? How can you possibly be the best worker when you're not the best version of yourself for yourself?
And so so yes, I hear all that. And so that's what I still think is that when you're thinking of it, it's still a version of changing who you are.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to change. Okay. What I'm asking you to adapt. And so when I say adapt, that's thinking through. Listen, I'm a Sagittarius. If you don't know nothing about a Sagittarius, we're the only zodiac sign with a weapon. Okay?
Shit.
I never even thought about that. Now you're gonna make me look up the zodiac. That's hilarious.
We're the only ones with a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means is, I can say what I gotta say, and I'm a straight shooter. Pew, pew. I can do that if I want to. But what I talk to my students is, but what was your end goal? And so when I talk about them creating a communication strategy and how they deal with literally anybody, whether it's just their bosses, whether as leaders, how they're dealing with their teams, what was the goal? I am a blurter. That is what we are. Sagittarius, we are. That's what we do. We go for the heart. But did that get me what I needed to get? And so I start teaching my students adapt, understand who you're dealing with to get what you want. And I very much am quoting Players Club in my class. Use what you got to get what you want. Think it through. It's not helping you when you can be as much as of a straight shooter and all those things. Think it through. Think it through of what do you want. And when you start thinking through what you want, things start flowing a little bit better and you haven't had to change anything about yourself. And another thing that I teach about is how you show up. And again, that's not you changing. I show up just like this. I show up like this in some African print and some, big hoop earrings because that's what I want to. Now, if I want to show up with, a 20-inch bust down weave, and I'm gonna do that too because I want to and I can. I can show up the ways that I want to, but that's how I want to be seen. And I'm not in, I can't get into how, what that makes somebody else feel. I show up like me. I also happen to be a little cute, so I can get away with a lot of things. But it also is just thinking through, how do you want to show up for yourself? How are you showing up online? How are you showing up, in terms of the words you say? How are you showing up in the office? What do people think about you? You can't control a lot of what people think about you. How I always tell people, what somebody thinks about you is none of your business. But there are some ways of, am I happy with how you see me? Am I happy with, when someone is speaking about me when I'm not in the room, have I done the work that I've needed to do with the relationships that I've had to make sure that the words that are coming out in that room are what I want?
That's real.
Have I made sure to see the right things that are what I want so that my name is spoken about in the way that I want? And it's those type of things of how to play. Now, I 100% get what you. Listen, I want us to be our real selves. I want us to be who we are. And that's why I'm constantly saying, don't change. Be who you are. Adapt.
Hear me out really quickly. And I'm with you, but I'm glad you said, I'm glad you gave the example of starting out with like the internship. That's the best example in the world. You start out with an internship or you start out at a company at the complete lower level. You have a little manager. Let's say your goal is to be an executive at MTV. Let's go with that, right? My parents are executives. I want to be an executive. That's a long road for you to travel, right? Every single time you step up, you have a different manager, 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 right? I just feel like if you can, let's just say this career to become an executive might take you 15, 20 years, right? Again, ladies and gentlemen, in any job, whether you have an MBA, whether you have a doctorate, it doesn't matter. Most times you go into a job at an entry level, right? At some type of an entry level, maybe if you're lucky, a mid-tier, but there's still a lot of levels that you have to step up. My thing is, you adapt at level 1, you adapt at level 2, you adapt at level 3. By the time you get to level 10, you have adapted and changed so much that you almost don't even recognize the person that you started out in.
Only if you change.
Only
if you change.
But when I call it the facade. Just hear me out, Denise. I just call it the facade. I'm not saying be disrespectful. I show up as me and I have a nice vocabulary. I can speak well and da-da-da-da-da. But when I speak, I still speak with conviction. I don't lower my tone. You understand what I'm saying? I speak to be heard, right? Not to be timid and da-da-da-da-da. But my thing is, when you create, you adapt. We have learned behavior. When you adapt and you start moving a certain way, then you move a certain way. Eventually, you become what you're adapting into, and you kind of change. I'm not saying sometimes it's not for the better, but more often than not, you end up adapting, and still not reaching the goal of what you wanted. Now you look back and say, well, what did I even do all of this for?
So again, I think it's hard to separate the adapt and change. It's hard to separate those things. But, as I'm talking about it, my entire career has been a series of adapting. Why? Because I'm always dealing with people. As long as you're dealing with people, you got to adjust. You got to adjust situations. And so where I have learned that, maybe for example, maybe in my early career, because again, straight shooter. I might have been, but it didn't get the result that I wanted. Now, in this stage of my career, I'm saying the same thing, but I adapted the way I get it, which means I have probably so professionally cussed you out. Because what?
Yeah.
But I adapted it because I need a particular result. I need a particular reaction. And because I have done the work to understand, who am I talking to? Who am I talking to? What am I dealing with? Let me think through the whole situation of how do I want this to end? And if I want this to end in a certain way, I just gotta adjust this. That's not changing me, because you probably gonna still feel cussed out.
Yeah, that's
Because
right.
I said what I said. But
can I say something real quick?
Of course.
Please? How come they don't adapt to us? That's the main question.
Because it's their game.
Unfortunately, we have to. This is for everybody, not just even us,
just
the culture, but just for everybody. You can't control what anybody else does. You can only control you. So if you spend too much time worrying about, well, why don't they, you will hurt yourself. So what I try to teach is, how do you know them better? Because they're not going to change. So how do you make, however they are, how do you make that work for you?
I'm with that. And I'm going to tell you, from somebody who's played the game at a high level.
That's what I was waiting for. That's what I was waiting for.
And done all that shit. Like, I'm telling you right now, when I first got into corporate America, I had braids and baggy slacks and all that shit, but I was a top performer. I wasn't getting the raises. Who I'm out here with lunch with? I'm with all the white counterparts. Yo, how you get the sale? How you doing this? I want to know your framework. I want to know this. We're going outside for drinks, beers, all that. Still play the game to perfection, and still got to put the phone voice on. Still got to do this. Still got to be that. I can't beat Jarrett like this. And then it still didn't go the way I wanted to, right? And then went to different places. Been to Cannes, been to this, been to that, been a VP, all of that stuff, right? When I succeeded the most, Denise, is when I said, fuck it. When I put the hat and the hoodie on, like I was telling you off camera, when that happened, but
that's you. That wasn't you. That was a part. That what you're talking about is you turned back into your real self because you changed. You didn't adjust. You changed. What I'm telling you is,
it's a fine line.
That's what I'm telling you. I have not changed. I'm suburban born and bred, so I can, I speak with my corporate voice, but I can dis and dat with everybody else. My mama is still from the 9th Ward in New Orleans, so I live in Jersey City, so I know how to adapt in multiple situations. That doesn't mean I'm not me. I'm still me. And
with the phone voice, sis. I don't know. I love that Jarrett always tells the story of, and let me tell you something, Denise. Like, if he was to ever lie about something, trust me, I'd hold him accountable, because we hold each other accountable. Let me tell you something. And I was a witness to this. My cousin took his family, listen to me, his family down to Atlanta and was calling me because we just put in for another application. Can you fucking believe that this shit different from New York? When you apply for apartments, every application you got to pay for. This shit is crazy. He was doing all of these things. Top earner, like he said, he did all of these things. Did his job phenomenally, and still was one of the first ones on the chopping block. Now, after doing that for so long, even if you say he didn't change it, let's say he didn't change up until that point, but for doing that now for so long, you think that doesn't enact a change right there in that moment where he's like, I did all of this and this was my end result, and clearly this wasn't what I projected to be. Clearly I did everything right. I hit all my numbers, etc. I was willing to uproot my family away from my family, because all our family mostly is here, right, and move to a complete another state to show you my dedication. And I give
and had the relationships. See? I had the CEO and the CMO on the podcast.
Right.
So not only am I creating a business unit, I'm creating an additional business unit that you're not even willing to pay for.
Right.
And don't have to pay for. And I'm giving you, they say they're parading me around. When the Buffalo massacre shooting happened, guess what? They putting my thoughts on the company page.
Yeah.
400,000 followers. Why is my thoughts going on the company page and not the CEO? Because I want to know what the fuck he thinks.
Right.
Why are you putting that out? But when the first person to go, guess who they kept? They kept John Smith. And John Smith, I'm selling circles around John.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So,
I'm certainly not agreeing on that point, because there's nothing more frustrating for all of us, because all of us are overeducated, over-mentored, overqualified, all those things. So I'm not saying that those things don't, keep me up and have me in tears at night too. And, have me consoling, all of our sisters and brethren as well. Like that's not saying that those things aren't real. And I think all of us are trying to figure out the best ways to navigate this, because going back to the
I like that answer right there. Navigation.
We're just navigating, because going back to the first point that I said I've heard some of your other guests, we've all said the same things. Yeah. The game wasn't meant for you to beat it. You're not going to. So you got to understand that going in, you weren't going to beat it. The best thing we can do as a community is help you play it better and help minimize the damage to your nervous system. Because that's what's been so hard. And when, young people have asked me which one has been worse, the sexism or the racism. And I'm like, the racism is way worse. The sexism is there. It's just not as loud, but the racism is. And it's hard because people can't understand, particularly us living here in New York and working at these, major corporations. Like, there's no way that you're, experiencing racism like every day. Some from the very small, paper cut to the big stuff. And we've got to make some choices and decisions for ourselves and our livelihoods and our families on how we navigate through it. Because that stuff, that's hard on our hearts, our physical hearts. There's a reason why Black women, our number one killer is heart disease. We're taking on a lot. And, to have to navigate through these spaces and still show up, show out. It's hard. It's hard, and it's not getting any easier. And so the best thing that women at my age and stage can do to our younger men and women coming in is just help you in how you navigate this again. And that's where I get to, I don't want you to not be you. I don't even want you to not be a version of you. I just want you to learn how to play this so that it works for you.
Yeah. Can you give us an example though, Siska? As we're talking about this, I would love to know if you can provide any example of when you've adjusted to get the outcome that you desired.
So what I was talking about of how I had to change, how I had to come at someone, think about where, what am I always worried about being labeled? I'm always worried about being labeled angry. And when you are a high performing Black executive or just a Black professional, just speaking with a little bit of conviction in your voice, which to an outside ear sounds like bass, you will be considered angry by a good morning. So
you be angry, man, cuzzo.
I'm not putting on the phone voice, man. I'm not. Listen,
but it's not about. But again, it wasn't about the voice that I changed. It was how I still. Again, I know it's an academic experiment that I do with my classes of how to think about your communication strategy, but I actually really do it in terms of if I need to have if I need to let somebody know, I actually write it down of what's my goal. What I start with, what do I want to end this conversation with? Because do I just want this motherfucker to know that she did that? No, because if that's my goal, then I'm not going to do it, because that's not helping. That helps me with the weapon of it all, but that doesn't help the mission.
Yep.
So I have to think through, okay, what's my end goal? What do I want to get out of this? And then back up from it. And then I have to think through, okay, so when I say this, what's the opposition that I'm going to get? All right. So how am I going to say this so that it lands? I need to be able to throw punches that land and get me what I want. I can't just be throwing punches because I want to knock you out. That's not productive. That's not helping. That makes me, I said what I need to say and she ain't gonna never do that again, but that's not helping what I need to help. And so that's how I had to grow and change from, being known as this hot-headed 20-something or 30-something that just got something to say and don't make Denise mad, Nope, can't do that. Gotta adjust that. That's because I need to still be known. I don't mind being known as Denise is somebody who speaks her mind. I don't mind being known as Denise gonna let you know, but I don't need to be known as is Denise finna beat you up. Don't need that. Got that. Been getting that since I was a little kid. Just from looking like this. That's right. I can't fight. I'm little. I'm only 5'1". I can't fight. That's right. You know, but to have that put on you is a lot. And so it was that was just maturity and growth of thinking in terms of how I communicate with people, of how I want to show up in this moment, and what do I want this end goal to get and end goal to be, and how can I communicate this by I'm still hitting everything I want to hit, but how do I use what I got to get what I want?
That's the game. I love it.
Message.
Did a somber one. Somber message.
It shouldn't be somber. It's
that's real.
It's being intentional. It's being intentional about how you show up, and knowing some of we hold a lot of power in us. And I tell a lot of our young people, you are very powerful because you're, can't nobody outwork us. Nobody. Can't nobody outwork us. I've got so many incredible students that, I have to tell so many of our students that look like us, don't get another degree. You're going to degree us. I mean, if you want the knowledge, get the knowledge. We love some knowledge. So please get it. But don't rack yourself up in debt and all these things because you think that this other degree or certificate or all these things are going to be this magic bullet. It's not. And I want you to know you already have all the tools. You are doing it. You're good. You're good. Let's focus on the things that are going to move needles, that are going to get you in these right rooms and in these right spaces and all those things. I want you to focus. So those are the kind of conversations I have with young people, because so many of them are, I'm going to get 4 master's degrees and then they're going to love me. Baby, you're going to be in debt.
That's a fact. That's a big fact.
I don't want that for you. I want you to get all the knowledge. I love that. Nothing makes me happier than when I have so many students and other, mentees that just want to learn for the sake of learning. Like nobody can take that away from you. And I love that for them. And I like to learn, but for Black women, if you've heard of, we're good ones of, don't break up with us because we're going to get another degree. That's how we heal.
I never, where we from, that ain't the saying in the hood. You'd be lucky if I 1 degree.
For Black women that I know and all the circles that I know, please don't make them mad because they're going to get a degree. They're going to get a degree, they're going to buy a house, they're going to level up, they're going to do something amazing.
Nah, when we break up with them, they key in your car.
They're going to do that, but they're going to also get a law degree to figure out how they're going to get off.
He's a baby D in them. No, not baby D in them. No.
We showing up. Don't make me knock on your mama door.
You might have been messing with a Sagittarius. We do those things.
Listen,
leave us alone.
I love listen, Sagittarius, just so you know, Sagittarius is some of my favorite people. My grandmother, who recently passed, is one of my absolutely favorite people in the world. I look at her as a second mother. I have 2 sons, and both of them are Sagittarius. So, we are very familiar with the Sagittarius.
We're very emotional beings.
Yeah.
We love to love.
Yeah.
You heard us. That weapon's coming out. So we try to not get into, again, this is an adaptability thing for us because we have bad tempers. So where we try to do is keep ourselves tempered and away from situations, or keep ourselves from going there, because I'm always joking with my friends, like Sagittarius go real 0 to prison like real quick. So like that's a lot of work that we also have to do with ourselves to keep ourselves regulated and rational so that we can get so we can get to the money, we can get to productivity and all those things. We know ourselves. But we're a ball of laughs.
Yeah, like I said, I love Sag, man. Some of my favorite people, I want to ask you a question. So you're climbing the ladder now. So your initial goal was just to work at MTV. So we talk about projecting, right? And affirmations and stuff like that, right? So, okay. Your initial goal was like, I want to work at MTV, right? When you got to MTV, did you now set like a short-term goal and a long-term goal? Because we believe in like setting goals and affirmations, right? What did it look like when you finally got there? Did you now set your sights on a specific title? Like, I want to do this or I want to be that? What did that look like?
So when I was at, I'm at Viacom. I'm an intern at VH1.
Right.
I go on to be at Noggin in the End. Noggin was the preschool division of Nickelodeon. The End was the teen division. That was when shows like Degrassi was on. So, I used to spend a lot of time with a young Aubrey Graham, now Drake. And then I kept going to Comedy Central, and all of this was so that I could get to the mothership. So that I could get to MTV. And so when I finally got to MTV, I was in the sponsorship and partnership division, because all this time I've been in public affairs and consumer marketing. And so I was able to make that switch to sponsorship marketing. And I mean, this was holy grail. This is what I wanted. I've got my dream job. Again, I'm 26, I'm 27, something like that. This is everything I wanted. And it was everything. It was everything I wanted. It was, when everybody asked me, what was it like working at MTV in like the early 2000s? I'm like, it's everything you thought it was.
Right.
Everything. And so, even my own identity was tied to that. If people introduced me, I was Denise from MTV, and that's just what it was.
Right.
And then I was there for a couple of years, and I finished my MBA, and I was like, I think I have to grow up. I think I have to move out of this nest. I think I gotta keep going.
Right.
And I made the decision to move on to NBCUniversal, and y'all, when I say I cried like a baby, and I left. I cried so hard because I felt like I was moving out of home, but it was so it needed to happen. It was so I needed to move on.
Yeah, for sure.
So when you talk about what are my future plans, I'm quick to tell people I am very lucky that I had my dream job when I was in my 20s. So everything that I have done since then has been intentional, but it has been a bonus. I already had my dream job, and that meme of I don't have dream jobs, I don't dream of labor. So I'm still 44 for a few more hours, but I don't dream of labor. But again, I already had it. Everything else that I have done, all the places that I've been, all the connections and friendships and relationships that I've built since then have all been the cherry on the top for what I already wanted to do. And so now when I'm, doing consulting as well as looking for full-time opportunities, sure, there's things that I don't want to do. And so I don't have conversations about that with those brands or networks or any of the ones that I know I don't want to go to, but other ones, I'm pretty open to. The beautiful thing of, my demographic of Black women is, from a media consumption standpoint, Black women consume everything.
Facts.
We consume the most TV, radio, and all the things. So it's a wonderful thing that when I am looking at, potential next places to go, I get to go. Is this something that I consume and I can get into? Not because of, at iHeart, I was very focused on, multicultural audiences, specifically Black and Hispanic, but throughout my entire career, I have touched every single demographic. So I know how to speak to different demographics, but I also, there's also a point that I'm also like, is this something that I can still wrap my head around and understand and dig into? Not necessarily that I'm the target audience, but can I still, do I even like, or can I champion this? Can I get high a little bit on my own supply to put it in those words? I don't necessarily want to go somewhere where I'm like, I don't even like this stuff. Like, I don't care. I don't necessarily want to, work somewhere like that, but it could happen. It just hasn't. In 20 plus years, it hasn't happened that I've gone someplace that I'm like, no, I actually like this brand.
But when we talk about, you also you just brought up iHeart, like you're doing multicultural, right? Can you explain like the role, like what like the significance of that role? Because you're like, obviously they're trying to reach every single demographic. Like what was like the role entailed? And I'm like,
so that role, I was working to develop multicultural partnerships for multicultural audiences with our different brands. So, connecting with Coke and AT&T and P&G, those brands to get them integrated or sponsoring our podcasts, our radio shows, our events. So I spent a lot of time talking about, particularly Black audiences, but also Hispanic audiences, and going even deeper in, how I speak about LGBTQ plus audiences and Asian Pacific Islander audiences. So, but my primary focus was our Black and Hispanic audiences. And, where that was interesting, it was just building upon some of the experience that I've had of, at MTV, particularly I was at MTV2, which the demo was young men. But if you remember MTV2, it was a two-headed dog. The two heads represented rock and hip hop.
Yep, absolutely.
So
that's where Rob Dyrdek had his show on. I used to watch that shit.
That's where Rob Dyrdek had his show.
That was my favorite fucking show. I love that show.
Yeah. So when I was, I used to touch multicultural and dealing with them, even on the NBCUniversal side. Certainly when I went to the NBA, and then I went to TV1, which obviously is a Black network. So in so many of my stints in my career, I've touched on multicultural. So while I have experience through all different demographics, when I went to iHeart, this was just tapping into, just another skill set that I had. And so, even when I was at TV1, what I used to always say is, on my worst day, I'm still talking about Black people all day. So, I'm good. I enjoy what I'm doing. And I can take a sense of, not so much ownership, but I always like to talk about that. I can use a mix of insights, just data and those kind of things, but also some instinct that I can bring into how I am developing ideas for brands who are wanting to connect and engage with these audiences in intentional, authentic, which I know is being overused, but real ways that they can connect.
I love it. First of all, TV1, y'all got to step it up. If I see Unsung on that channel one more time, this podcast like us.
Don't talk about them Unsugs like those.
I love Unsung.
I love it Unsung.
Baby. Come on. I have to do an Unsung more than a title version.
Listen. Those are such good experiences to have. I've run the gamut of so many different places, from TV to sports, being at the league, and then being at TV1 and being someplace that was for us, by us. There definitely was some such pride being there and doing what we were doing, and I've just had these opportunities to keep moving. And so now I'm in a situation where I get to continue moving along now and looking for that next role.
I don't know if he's going where I'm going with this, sis, but we usually ask the mama I made it moment, because you've worked in a plethora of different organizations. Oh. What's the one moment that you was like, I know my mom, my pops, my brothers, everybody loved it? Like, what was that one moment you sent home to the crib was like, I did it?
Okay. So don't laugh. You promise you won't laugh?
Shit, I'm already laughing. You can't promise. I'm on Dindoos now.
So I'm going to preface this with, I'm the biggest New Edition fan that ever walked this planet.
Okay.
Ever. And so when I was at TV1, and my primary client was Walmart. And so we were working on a Road to Essence event in Bentonville, Arkansas, where Walmart is. And BBD was actually performing there. Now I'm there for TV1. Like, I'm there to get R&B divas. Like, in Walmart, like, I don't really need nothing with them. But my boy, Kirk, was doing some shooting for me. And so he comes to me and he's like, you want to shoot a little something with them? You want to shoot a little spot with them? Again, I don't need them. But we go into our little kind of studio area that we have, and he shoots a, just like a, little spot interview with them, and just gets them talking. And, Mike Bivens is looking over at me, and he's like, the pretty lady over there, in like his Boston accent. And, and I got to spend some time with them. But that, even though that was such a celebrity moment, that was this is my job. Like, I'm at work and I'm doing things, and I get to be around these legends that I love. And I have to keep it cute this entire time. I cannot fan out the way that I absolutely want to. But it was one of those moments of, that was, that was bigger than when, my parents or my family has seen my name on, credits or any of those things. It was, no, I really work in this business and I have this, I'm able to connect with these folks in a work environment and it's still love. And it's one of my favorite moments, just to celebrate. And I think, any of those times when I've been able to be around other just legends, my other moment was when I was at the NBA and I'm escorting. Now it's a beautiful moment that I think of. I'm escorting Dikembe Mutombo. I'm just escorting him around. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
And so I'm walking him into like a sponsored event that we have, and I'm just standing there. And I don't know if y'all remember, I am only 5'1", so he's towering over me. And as I'm standing there, Bill Russell comes over. It was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar walks over.
Legend.
And it was two other legends that escape me right now. Y'all, this is me. I don't even like basketball like that. But I was like, I am standing in such a moment of Black history, certainly NBA history, but this is such Black history that I'm standing in the middle of. And these guys they're just talking. And it was just such a beautiful historical moment of, wow, I just can't believe I get paid to do this. And, I certainly thought of him, when we unfortunately just lost him. And I was like, God, I'm so glad that I had that moment with him, because it's less about them being, yes, they're celebrities, but these men have these legends, these people have done such extraordinary things for their craft, but also for the culture. And I can't believe I get to do this. Like, this is amazing.
I love that. That's the best feeling in the world, when you get to do some fire shit for work, man. Oh my God.
For work. And I still, and I have to keep it cute. And I still gotta write a recap about this.
I ain't gonna front. I think we had our own moments on Black Week.
Right?
That's I think one of those, I think for me personally, we've done a lot of stuff. We've interviewed Beyonce's dad, we've interviewed you, we've interviewed Walt, we interviewed everybody, right? But I think that moment when I was sitting there with Rohan, like we sitting there dead ass interviewing him, like I'm sitting here with a fucking Marley right now. Like, how's that happening? And this is our work. And we actually own the company. Like, it was one of those, like, you have to just look around and like, yo, damn, and stay in the moment. We do so much that I never stay in the moment. And that was one of those.
Like, how did I, it's not that you haven't worked hard, and it's not that you don't deserve these, to be in these spaces, but there's still the little person in you that's like, I always think that I'm, I know that I'm looking at 7-year-old Denise and she's going, good job. That's who I hope I make her proud. I hope I make the like living kids in my family and in my life. I hope I make them proud. But, I think of little Denise that, has lofty dreams, and I hope I make her proud.
Shit, you make us proud. We appreciate you.
I had a different question. So to address you, Jarrett, I don't think I've got to my mama I've made it moment for us yet. For just me personally.
Gotcha.
I think we're doing a lot of dope things. But I just feel like I just haven't reached that moment yet. Maybe because, like I've been in the industry and being around CEOs, I've been around so many celebrities and see it hasn't affected me like that in that moment. Black Week was definitely dope, but I think it's going to be a different moment for me when we do something that's just like, God damn, like we did this, we created that. I just haven't had that moment.
But you know what? I know that you've had some. I'm sure that you've had some great moments that you've just been
phenomenal
proud of yourself and all those things. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
but you guys are doing it. So
phenomenal moments, Denise. I mean, like I said, that we've had phenomenal moments. I praise what we do every single day, from where we've started, from the idea of it to us creating the company and going in and out of state to conference. Like, we've had phenomenal moments. Make no mistake about it. Yeah. Like I said, that mama I made it moment just for me is I just haven't had that yet. But I do. When you were talking, it just hit me. I've never asked this question to any of my other guests, but I feel like for you to tell us your journey, I feel like it just came to me to ask you this question. So we all know what it's like entry level to go to school. We talked about school and degrees, right? I'm surprised we've never asked this question to anybody else. So you're the first, right?
Okay.
We all know what it is to go in as an entry level, right? You get your degrees or you get some type of education or you want to do an internship, you do your resume and there's like a quick interview process. But what does the process look like from not only an executive standpoint now, but from a Black executive standpoint when you're moving from one company as an executive to moving to another company as an executive, right? I'm pretty sure there's interest. Let's say a company reaches out to you, there's interest, but what is that interview? Do you still have to submit like a resume at that point? Like, what does that process look like?
So I'm in it now. And what it is, it's a lot more, relationship heavy.
Okay.
And one of the things that I learned so very early on in my career and use it as my own mantra is build your bridge before you need it.
Okay.
And so it's a lot of tapping into my relationships. And that's how I get, the heads up on certain roles or, roles that you might not see elsewhere. And even I think with iHeart, which was an executive level role, I probably did find that on LinkedIn. But the interesting thing about that was I still was able to tap into executives from there that I knew.
Okay.
Mentors who were from there. I still was tapping into a lot of relationships.
Okay.
To make sure that my name kept being on that top spot. Because otherwise you're just another hot resume.
Right.
And
so you do have to submit you
still gotta submit one. Like you still gotta go through the
interviewing and stuff like
normal
that.
Processes. Your interview process might be slightly different. Depending on where it is. Again, there's been, some places where I've had these executive roles where, they weren't that extensive. But they were built on relationships. And, I've had some others where, I go through the normal process, but I know how I like to show up in these kind of connections with senior executives who are doing this hiring. I'm also trying to create a relationship with them, create some sort of connection with them so that you can feel comfortable with me in these executive ranks along with you.
Right.
I'm not a rank and file employee anymore. So I want to be able to show you that you can trust me as a trusted partner in these executive ranks. I like to convey that, I can get the job done, but also I can show up as a strong leader to lead other people coming up. Those are the kind of things that I like to convey but those things, you can see them on my resume, but that's when we get together and vibe. And you see how we do when we get together and just can connect. I'm very focused on making those connections, but I also am relying on a lot of my network to help me with brokering some of those connections and introductions as well. And that's where you have to make sure you have a very strong network so that they do those kind of things for you.
That's a fact. I was going to ask you a follow-up question to that. What is your leadership style? Because there's somebody listening right now. Like I've never worked for a Black. I've never had a Black boss. I'm just keeping it real, except for one time in my career.
Mm-hmm. So my leadership style is definitely of a. Let me see how I teach them. Let me see what I tell them in my class.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it bottom in. Says dunk that mother.
I know. I gotta think of how I put it. How I told them in my class. It is of a, it has a bit of a consultancy vibe of. I like to be able to, again, I'm very big on creating connection with my teammates, of understanding you as an individual, what makes you tick, what's important to you, how do you like to be led, what motivates you, understanding that so that I can adapt how I deal with you. Because, me as a person, Denise is I'm an introvert. I like to go in my office and shut the door and I could be in there all day. That doesn't work for everybody. Some people like, for their leaders, they like to be able to talk things out and they like those, normal check-ins. I don't like that. But in order for me to get the best out of you, if that's what you need, I'm going to have to adapt. because I need you to be at your best. So I'm going to have to adapt to you and try to give you, I got to give you those things that make you productive and make you shine. So I like to lead with a lot of humanity. That is something that I talk about with my students a lot. Y'all think that is a simple thing to say. It's not. We can look to so many leaders that we've had that are so focused on the bottom line. They are so focused on what we got to get done. You forget you're dealing with people. And I don't need to be in your business. That's not what I'm saying. We don't need to be friends like that, but I do need to understand you.
Message.
What about a demands list? We talked to I think it was Walt that said it to us. Like, when you're going into these interviews now as an executive, do you have like a certain, again, because entry level is different. You want the job, this is what the job calls for, take it or leave it. But as an executive, when you walk into these interviews, even though you've fostered these relationships, if it's still the same process of the interview process, do you have a demands list where you say, okay, you know, I've talked to you guys about what I could do for the company, but this is what I want. What can the company do for me? This is what I'm looking for, and kind of stand on that. What does that look like?
So I don't have a demands list.
Okay.
Because when I'm coming into an organization, again, thinking about how I want to show up to you. So in the initial, I'm asking you, what do you need? What do you need to be successful? I'm asking, even from, you know, whomever might be my senior executive that I'm answering to, what gets you your gold star? Because what's important here? What is important here? Because it's not only about what I need, because I'm coming into an organization saying, this is what I have, and this is what I want to contribute, but also I want to learn and grow with what's here. And I want to amplify what's here too. I don't need and I don't want to be that person that's coming in. I'm about to tell y'all what to do. Nobody wants to work with that person. That person.
No, not telling what to do, but I think
it was Walt
negotiating for a severance package, and like, okay, like negotiating for a severance package. Like, okay, if I'm here for a certain amount of time and then I happen to leave, what does my severance package look like? And we're talking like stuff like that, not like telling them
like his lawyer would review the compensation package,
right? Like a compensation package and
I've
stuff.
never heard that.
Yeah,
I mean, sure, I have those conversations of, how can we get a deal done, together, and how can we make this mutually work for us? So I have those conversations, and I try to approach them. From a collaborative standpoint, because nobody likes to feel dictated to.
Facts.
Nobody. So if we can come to this with a mutual, like, everybody happy with this, and let me tell you what. Using your words, demands. Sure, I come with these are the things that I want, and I believe I deserve.
Right.
So I'm going to come with this, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, and let's see where we can meet in a happy place with that. So sure, I have those conversations.
Okay. I love it. I think because we talk about giving the information back to the community. So it's very important for them to understand the full process of not only getting a job, but also the interviewing process, right? Because like I said, when we spoke to Walt, he brought up a lot of stuff that I know I didn't even. When the fuck do you negotiate a severance package? Like, again, this is the information that we need to give to people so that again, it's about walking into a job confidently. Let's use that word, confidently, right? Sure. Again, it's a difference when you're walking into an industry, zero experience, straight out of college or whatever, and you're like, yo, I'm gonna get whatever I could take to get my foot in the door. Versus when you've been in this industry, now you have a certain amount of accolades under your belt, and you're like, okay, you know what I do, right? Because somebody clearly referred me or they're talking about me. So, these are the things that I want, but just being kind of firm on, like, you called me. I'm saying, like,
yeah, but it still lets, it is about when we're talking to each other, we both want something out of this. We both want something. So how can we work together? So that's you not being overly hardball as the employer, and also me not being such a jerk about it that now you don't even want to work with me because now I'm annoying. You know, what are those ways that we can, how can we get what we need? How can we understand, how can we negotiate together to get what we both need so that everybody is, you know, whatever our version of happy is.
Yeah, but that's why when Walt said that, it sounded crazy to me. First, it depends on a lot of factors. It depends on the market. Right now, you're not going in there talking that shit, but then you're like, yo, I know for me, I'm talking 140, 200,000. Okay, cool. I'm negotiating that. You can easily get somebody that didn't get the slot that can wait, maybe coming in for 180, 170.
And that happens, and that has happened. And I've had to just take those breaks. And when I came in with, this is what I want, but was open of, this is what I want, but I'm willing to, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it and get to something. I'm not being hard for no reason, but this is what I want because this is what I've earned.
There you go.
Right.
But I'm not so closed off that we can't, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it and let's get to a happy place together. So that we could both get to this money.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. I know we coming up. I know it's your birthday weekend. First of all, it's your birthday. Happy birthday tomorrow.
Thank you.
Happy early birthday.
Early birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What is one thing that you're looking forward to? What is one thing like for your birthday? What would you tell your 7-year-old self if you had to look back?
Oh my God.
You're like, I'm 40, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I am about to be 45.
I didn't want to say, I was going to say 30. I was like, goddamn, I said 40. Fuck.
We said 23, man.
I mean, we said 23.
We said 23.
40 minus 17, y'all.
Look, listen, she's 45. Wow. And, one thing I'm looking forward to, I'm home in my house. I will go to Maryland for Thanksgiving, probably on Thanksgiving morning, but I am looking forward to waking up in my home, in my sanctuary, and just going, you know what? You did okay. You did okay. You're okay. And, I'm not doing anything tomorrow. I'm just chilling with myself tomorrow. And that is what I'm going to do, is just keep telling myself, you're doing okay. You're doing okay. You're where you're supposed to be. It might not be where you thought you were going to be in some instances, but you're where you are supposed to be. I am going away for my birthday at some point. I ain't gonna tell everybody where I'm going because I don't want to buy it. But I am going away, and I am looking forward to. And I'm going just me. I'm looking forward to just riding on a beach, thinking about life. And again, I get a lot of pats to myself on my shoulder, like, you're doing okay. Good, you did it.
Because I think you know where I'm going with that.
Where you going? I know exactly where he's going with it.
Denise, you've been saying a lot of alone. I mean, we got to talk about it. You come from your parents being married for
good stock
for the God hour, right? You are raised on this thing, right? So yes, you were chasing your dreams and executive and stuff like that, but what about like relationship wise? You never thought to try to, I mean, we have to ask because again, right? We talk to a lot of people, male and female, and we have to talk about what success looks like from the family dynamic, from the support from a spouse or significant other. So you keep saying, I'm going alone and da-da-da-da. Like, if you don't mind talking about it, like,
we're the brothers.
Yeah, you tell me that phone ain't ringing. Like, yo, it's your birthday. We going to. Yeah,
it might be ringing, but they're blocked.
Like, what's going on? Like,
it might be ringing, but they're blocked.
All right. I know you keeps it real. Where's my damn sign? I keeps it real.
Nah.
They're blocked. My friends who are watching will be laughing because they have been hearing me say for a while, I'm happily retired. Y'all can have it.
From the game?
Yeah, I'm out the game. Y'all can have it. Yeah, I'm out. I'm good. Y'all can have it. I'm good.
No. What are we talking about?
I'm good. Denise. It was a good run. It was a good run.
Denise, you worked for MTV. Come on now. I know it's a lot of brothers out there like. Come on.
They're all blocked. They're blocked.
Come on. You retired out the game.
They're blocked.
I mean,
listen, I had, I have had at 45 years old, I've had 3 serious relationships. 2 of those were, I've been engaged twice.
Okay.
So there was certainly a time in my life where I very much wanted to be, with a partner, wanted to be a wife, couldn't wait to be a wife.
Yeah.
That time passed.
Oh, damn.
Oh, no. Denise.
Don't cry me, Argentina.
No, we're not crying. I'm actually sad. I'm gonna be honest
Don't
with you.
Be sad. Don't
no,
be sad because this is the happiest I've ever been in my entire life.
But we talked to a good friend of our show, John Graham. We've talked to so many people that reaffirm just relationships and the power of having a significant other in your corner to support. I'm not saying that obviously you've done well doing what you're doing. We're just saying, again, the importance of just like a significant other to not only share in your success, but help champion you and help support you and things of that nature, and then building a legacy of your own further down the line. So that's what the reason that we asked that, because we asked a lot of our guests that. Yeah. It's about, we're big on because we're big on family. Like I don't come from a 2-family household. Jarrett does. So his parents are actually still married. Mm-hmm. So hey,
you're telling me high school sweethearts.
Yeah,
absolutely. And
what I have, what I like to tell people to explain, because what I try to caution people when they're like, oh my God, I'm so sad. I'm like, don't be. This is probably the happiest I've ever been in my entire life, because I learned how to, again, Sagittarians we are full of love. We love super deep and super hard. And so what I learned was to channel that love. I learned to put it elsewhere. First of all, I put it on me, a place that it wasn't before. And then I learned it's the same energy, it's the same flavor of love that I'm able to give to my family, to my friends, that it's the same energy of romantic love. It still takes the same amount of energy from me. And my nervous system gets to survive. And so I love being able to pour love into my family. Again, I'm not alone. I might be physically alone sometimes, but I'm not alone. I'm never alone.
Absolutely.
I have the kind of friends and relationships and family that most people would dream of. And those are what sustain me. And I found at this age, when I started to look back on those romantic relationships, I started to go, those are when I am my most miserable in life.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
These are people that I love them down, and they know who they are. I mean, they're blocked, but they know who they are.
Podcast, damn you. You're gonna see a clip somewhere. You're gonna be like, damn you.
Damn.
But I am so grateful to have the kind of love that I have in my life, and to be able to have the kind of people that I'm able to pour love into. And then when I'm thinking about a legacy, I am so blessed that I have, not only I've got, 2 nieces, 1 nephew, a great nephew. So those are, like my actual people that I get to impact in their life. My niece she's 19 years old. My nephew's 22. And the 2 of them are very, very gracious of all the other kids that are in my life, because both of them they're giving the Lawrence Fishburne, Ike Turner look every time I say something about another kid. They're like, calm it down. But, I'm able to impact so many other children in my life. So I'm good. I'm good, and I'm fulfilled, and I have that fulfillment in me, and I have people that I'm able to pour into, and they're able to pour into me. So I'm good. And it's one of those things where you have to, when you look back at your life and you have to make a decision of, are you going to harp on the things that you don't have, or are you going to celebrate the things that you do? And so the love that I have in my life is so great. Hey, can't win them all. And again, my nervous system is going to survive. So I'm good, and they stay blocked.
Message.
I find it amazing that like a lot of our
crazy
Black queens that we have on the show, we might have had like 2 or 3 that were married, and I think Judy Jackson had one of the illest stories. But they find like, yo, it's hard for me to find somebody that has the same mindset. It's hard to find somebody who has the vision. It's hard. I'm like, God, there was the 1,300 brothers in Black Week. Ain't nobody. You
know what? If you would have asked me when I was kind of in the mode of being open, when people would ask me, "What do you want?" I said, "I want my best friend."
Yeah,
I want my best friend. I want and I was the kind of, girlfriend and potential wife of, I want, when my dude has had a horrible day, cool. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get, what's the favorite snacks, favorite drinks. Okay, I'm gonna probably leave him alone, but make sure his show is on. Or what's Sheila's name in accounting? Like, let's fight her. Like, I want whatever energy that you need, because I want to be that support system, but I also want that for me. And what I found was, even the like very, very serious relationships I was in, you guys were sucky friends. Like, y'all damn! Why?
Jesus.
I just can't just watch the movie.
Guys, what the fuck is going on? Hold on.
Guys, what the fuck is going on?
That is, when I tell people of how I got there, the assumption, and I'm not saying you all were making that assumption, but the assumption was, oh, Denise, you were being too hard, or you were expecting too much, or you were being intimidating, or all those things. I'm like, I wasn't doing any of those things. But just in case I was the problem, guess what? I took myself out.
There you go.
Y'all be good. Y'all told me to choose better. I chose me.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that part of the answer, but you know what I'm saying, like, again, like I said, it's important to ask these questions, because again, there's young women out there, Denise, that are looking up to you, that's going to hear this interview, that's going to watch this interview, and every aspect of it is important, because they're going to go through every aspect of it themselves. They're going to go through relationships and work, relationships with friends, right? When you climb the ladder, you might have had 20 friends, but as you climb the ladder, how many friends did you lose, right? Now you only got maybe 2 close friends, right? This type of information is essential, because when they go through it, if they have something to relate to, then they can deal with it mentally and their nervous system better.
And I want people to be, if what I always tell, whatever generation my friends or mentees are in, if that is what you want, please get it, and I will cry at your wedding. Like, I can't wait to champion you. I love that for you. I am not in that space anymore. So, don't try to hook me up with nobody. Somebody knocks on my door, I'm calling security.
That's great. Yeah, see, Denise, you setting up a lot of red flags, right? Block security and all that. You might be a little too rough, Denise. You gotta, Denise, you gotta adapt.
No, I don't. On that one, I don't. I don't. The beautiful thing is, I don't. I don't have to do anything, and I don't want to. And because I don't want to, I don't make that anybody else's problem. That's the best thing I can do is I won't make my shit anybody else's problem. Y'all have a good time. But I do want to champion, I'm going to champion other people. And, listen, again, I'm about to be 45 years old. So you can imagine the things that I've seen and experienced and learned. I got the same battle scars that all of us have when you've, just been around the block. And, one of the things that I see in young people that, God, I wish I would have listened. The best advice that I never took. Do not let somebody tell you they don't want you more than once. Oh, I never took that advice.
Wait, say that again?
Let somebody tell you they don't want you more than once. It is something that they tell to. It's something that they tell to women all the time, because we have this tendency of, oh, but he's just going through something. He's just this. He's just that. No, girl, he don't like you. Go ahead and go. Go ahead and walk away.
Y'all believe him.
No.
It's hard, and it was hard. It was hard for me back then. It ain't hard for me now. You ain't gotta tell me nothing. You blink at me wrong, I'm gonna block you. I'm going away.
You're blocking. I love it.
You don't pick up my phone call. I'm hanging through the phone. Like, don't do me. You ain't gotta tell me nothing. Like, I'm good. But it was those type of things of understanding how. And that was understanding, just again, my biggest thing is friendship. So whether it is a romantic relationship or even a friendship, looking how people deal with you in terms of, strife, as well as when you're in times of, triumph.
Right there.
And, there were times that I, certainly had relationships that I was like, dang, you're not even happy for me. Like,
Oh,
we can't be happy together.
damn.
I was gonna give you some of my cake. Nothing. Okay.
Yeah, I'd have blocked him too.
I know. Mika in there like, preach.
Yeah, because Mika love to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
she got a good one now.
Yeah.
I got you.
No.
But,
Denise,
it's one of those things of, again, where I try to tell folks, like, maybe it sounds jarring to some people because that's just what our, society has told us to have. And I think it is very hard when people hear, like, I'm really happy, like, probably happy as I've ever been, because, again, my nervous system is calm.
I ain't mad. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be somebody. I don't know who's gonna be my friend, but somebody's gonna be like, Denise, you're a good person, my friend.
No,
listen, I think everybody inertly is good people. You just have to find somebody that just mixes with you, right? That's all it is. So like I said, Denise, we weren't trying to pry or be intrusive or anything, but again, we ask a lot of our guests this because we've had guests come on the show to say, listen, when I was super successful, I had a partner. They was with me. When I decided to go entrepreneur route and the finances dropped, then they was gone, right? So we talk about that commitment in the good times, in the bad times, and like I said, especially from a person coming from your background, that your family's been together for 55 years. That's almost unheard of, right? Yep. So for you to give us that answer is just a little shocking because you were bred into that, and we would think like,
it's an interesting thing, but it's, and yes, I grew up with, I've grown up with commitment. Again, I've grown up with two people who really are intentional and determined to do what they need to do to stay together. They have, think about in 55 years, how much the two of them have changed as individuals and as couple. They started as college students.
Yeah.
At some point in that, they became parents, and their identity was parents for like a really long time. And then another identity when we all moved out the house, and they had to like look at each other again. So they have had to relearn each other in multiple versions of each other, that there's obviously so many things that I do not know about how they have, evolved, with each other. And I'll tell you, it's not that I didn't want that. There were a couple people. I was trying to do life. I wanted to do life with you. I know how to do life. I've seen it. I have those examples. I was really trying to do life with you. And when I mean do life, like the not fun stuff, like the boring stuff, the like really get into it. I don't need no wedding. My parents eloped. So, I have that kind of, my parents they were so ready to do this. They went to Grambling. My mother had moved. She was finished her coursework, so she had moved to Denver, Colorado. My pops was still in college. He left. Remember, this is like Thanksgiving week. So he left, went to Colorado. They got married at a church in Denver, Colorado, and he went back to school.
Fire.
That's how determined he was. Like, and my mom comes from a big, beautiful family in New Orleans. My mom is a twin. She's got a lot of brothers and sisters. We have a big family, but that's what y'all wanted to do. And, I'm very grateful that, when I always post on this day, my hashtag is always, there's no tomorrow without today, because I'm, if you have not realized, I'm their 10th anniversary present. So, this is always today is my favorite day of the year, because if you two have made this decision as college students and stuck it out, and I know it was rough of being 20 somethings, figuring each other out, figuring life out together in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to them. And they listen to me of how I feel. I mean, they were there. They saw all the ones and they approved the blocks. They approved the blocks.
Oh no, brother.
Now, did they block them too? Like, anybody cool with dad? Like, yo, we can't go fishing no more. Big
old.
What
I said about my daddy.
gonna put you in a motherfucking choke. Get away from me.
Crazy. He said, John, you know you can't come over no more.
I liked you. I really did, sir.
You was my guy, John. That's crazy.
My dad's his primary is he's behind me. Like, you mess with his daughters and his son, you're dead to him.
Oh man.
He wants nothing to do with it. But he was, my dad is an all-in kind of guy, because he's like, so if my daughter says that this is what we're doing,
it's what we doing.
And this is what we're doing. But I mean, he has no problem threatening them, and he did. Because that's how my pops is. He doesn't have a problem with that.
Shout out the OG, man.
But that's how he is. And I did have a dad that told me, as a young person, listen, I'm raising you in a certain way. And so I don't ever want you to be reliant on literally anybody, but I certainly don't want you to be reliant on some man for anything. So if there's anything that you need, you always come to, if you can't get it on your own, I want you to get it on your own, because I raised you to get it on your own.
Right.
You can't get it on your own. You come ask your daddy, and your daddy will take care of it. No questions asked. And that's where we are. And I'm grateful to have, that example of a man and a father and a husband who always let me know if can't nobody be, take care of it, your daddy can take care of it.
I love it.
That is nothing else. That's a drop the mic. Like, shout out to the OG, man. Shout out to the OG.
Shout out to OG, man, for real.
Happy birthday once again. Like, thank you for pulling up, Denise. Like, real talk, being vulnerable, telling your story with us, keeping it real the way you did. Like, you got brothers here now. Like, we extend the invite to everybody. You are now part of the More Than the Title family. So welcome to the family. And if there's anything we can do, past guests, future guests, whatever, you're part of the family, and we're honored for you to be a part of this. Like, real talk, man.
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for this convo. It's so great to, connect with y'all again. I just love the energy and the brother and sisterhood that we had when we met in person. We just kind of locked in immediately. So I'm really grateful for that, and I'm glad that we can just continue on as family.
Love it. And you at Fordham. We're gonna come check you on Fordham. My parents used to work at Roosevelt, right across the street. Right.
So I'm in the business school, so I'm in Lincoln Center. I'm normally I'll be in person in January for my class, but the business school is in Lincoln Center.
Oh shit, I'm still.
Listen, you going to check on Fordham? You going to check in Fordham? I used to walk by Fordham and look at the gate. Them motherfuckers got an entrance fee. The guard at the booth be like, "You want to come in?" You see?
I see my sister. That's my sister, Sonya. That's my big sister, Sonya, who was in the comments.
Man. Yeah, that's what's up, man. What we got coming up next, Cuzzo?
Oh man, we got Maggie Lowe on December 2nd. Yeah. We got H2O. Then there's no episode on Thursday, y'all. We are flying down to Miami, make something happen. Then we got True Pettigrew December 12th. We got Islam, who's the global president of Coca-Cola, on the 17th. We got a lot of interesting interviews, y'all. We're just grateful and thankful to be able to do this, and we appreciate y'all. See all the comments. I see the Instagram. If you see me on my phone, I'm sitting going to the chat and all that. We trying to make this thing work, but we love it. Thank you for tuning in to all the comments. Real talk.
Yeah, and before we get out of here, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, find out what it truly is that you are thankful for, right? The food and all that is dope, but we say G&T for a reason, right? Thanksgiving, find out a reason that you are truly thankful. And if you're around people that you can share that feeling with, then I would advise you to do so, because that's truly what stuff like these holidays are about. It's about being thankful, right? And sharing your joy, like Denise said, with the people that you love and pouring into them and having them pour into you. That's what it's about. It's not about gift giving and stuff like that. It's really an excuse to bring us back together as a community, as a culture, right? Because too many times, if we are busy with our own lives as adults, right, as parents, as entrepreneurs, etc., we sometimes disconnect. So we use these holidays to come back as a cheat code, so to speak, right? Drinks and food. It's a cheat code, though, to reconnect with the people that you love and you care about and things of that nature. So you know how we like to always end off the show, man. Denise came on. She gave you her story. She was honest. You know what I'm saying? She was forthcoming with it. She told you her grind started as an intern, right? Wasn't afraid to walk in at the ground level and worked her way up. That shows you what we always say. The dream is free.
But the hustle sold separately, y'all. We gonna see you. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all.